mist-shrouded waters of the Platte River, there drifts a ship that should not exist, a ghostly vessel known as the Death Ship, first sighted in the mid-1800s. This eerie apparition has haunted the stretch between Alcova and Torrington, Wyoming, ever since. The ship, unnaturally gray and spectral, glides silently across the river's surface, its sails billowing in the windless air, as though propelled by something far more sinister than the breeze. But it's the crew that truly chills the soul. The sailors aboard the Death Ship are no men at all. They are phantoms, pale, hollow-eyed figures who stand motionless on deck, their faces twisted in eternal suffering. They move with an unnatural jerking motion, as though bound by some cruel force that will never allow them peace. No one has ever heard them speak, nor seen them react to the world around them. They simply drift, forever trapped on their cursed vessel. Locals speak of the ship's appearance as a death omen. Those who have witnessed it often report a sense of overwhelming dread, as if the ship is drawing them closer to the grave. Some claim that if you stare too long at the ghostly ship, it will come for you, its crew reaching out, cold hands grasping for your soul. Many who have ventured near the river never return, their fates lost to the Death Ship's eternal voyage. Once you see it, you may never leave the river alive. There's a number that no one should ever call. 99999. It's a forbidden sequence, whispered about in hushed tones, known only to those who dare to seek the unimaginable. The legend goes like this. If you dial the number after midnight, you'll hear a voice on the other end, soft and chilling, offering you anything you desire. A wish, a secret, a moment of power. But nothing comes without a cost. For every wish granted, a price is paid in blood. The moment you utter your request, you seal your fate. The voice will ask for nothing except your life, and when the sun rises, you will be gone, swallowed the shadowy corners of Chilean and Argentine folklore, there is a creature that terrifies even the most steadfast, the chanchon. This isn't any ordinary bird. It is a dark spirit, a twisted sorcerer transformed, taking the grotesque form of a disembodied head with enormous, bat-like wings, formed from its own ears. The chanchon is said to haunt the night, its eerie, blood-curdling cry, "tu, tu, tu," echoing through villages and sending icy chills down the spines of those who hear it. Legend tells of powerful magi, sorcerers who could transcend the human form and, through a dark ritual, separate their heads to transform into the chanchon. As these sinister heads take flight, they prowl the darkness, seeking their victims, driven by an insatiable thirst for fear, with piercing red eyes that glow against the inky sky, and fanged teeth that glint in the moonlight. The chanchon is more than a mere creature. It is an omen of death, a harbinger of doom. Villagers claim that if you hear the chilling toot 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 cry, you must hide and remain absolutely silent, for the chanchon can sense even the faintest breath, the slightest heartbeat. Its presence drains warmth from the air, leaving a deathly chill in its wake. Some who have dared to look up at the sky during the cry swear they have seen the chanchon hovering, watching, waiting, and for the unlucky ones it chooses to descend upon. A strange, feverish sickness follows, lingering like a dark curse. Those who have encountered the chanchon and lived to tell the tale often describe nightmares that plague them for weeks afterward. Visions of a head with flapping ears, soulless red eyes, and that unending, haunting cry. To this day, the chanchon remains a whispered fear in the quiet villages along the Andes, a ghostly predator that rules the night skies. So if you ever hear that distant ghostly toot-toot-toot cry in the dead of night, beware. The chanchon may be circling above, its gaze set on you, eager to claim yet another soul in the darkness. In the grim corridors of 1960s police stations, an eerie rumor began to spread. A dark tool known as the colander lie detector. It wasn't an ordinary machine, but a contraption as twisted as the minds of those who wielded it. Stories tell of police or military interrogators, grim-faced and humorless, who would lead suspects into dim, flickering rooms. There, in the center of a barren table, sat a colander, connected by tangled wires to a clunky, whirring photocopier. With cold hands and steely eyes, they would press the colander onto the suspect's head, the metal pressing down cold and biting. The suspect, bewildered and terrified, would feel every nerve prickling with dread, trapped under that metallic cage as the interrogators began their relentless questioning. For every answer, their eyes would narrow, scrutinizing the slightest twitch, listening to the hum of the machine as if it were an oracle. And then the moment of terror, the photocopier would sputter, lights flashing as it spat out a single sheet of paper. In bold, damning letters it read, "He's lying. No escape. No mercy." The suspect's denials would crumble under the weight of that simple, ominous phrase. evidence the machine held powers beyond human comprehension. And while rational minds would dismiss this setup as a mere psychological trick, to those who lived through it, the memory of that cold colander and the whispering hum of the photocopier still haunts their darkest nightmares. They say that some suspects, after enduring this twisted ritual, could still hear the faint sound of that photocopier, a ghostly reminder of the machine that could see through lies and leave nothing but a trail of fear in its wake. In the dark, moonless nights of the Caribbean, a shadow stalks the land, a creature known only as the chupacabra. The name goat sucker strikes fear into the hearts of those who whisper its legend. It is a nightmare made flesh, a thing that slinks through the underbrush, its glowing eyes reflecting the terror of the helpless creatures it hunts. First seen in Puerto Rico, the chupacabra is no mere animal. It is a monstrous, nightmarish predator with a hunger that cannot be quenched. Descriptions vary. Some say it has the spiny reptilian back of a creature from the depths of hell. Others speak of a beast with fangs like razors and claws like daggers. But one thing is certain: the chupacabra is a bloodthirsty killer. Livestock, especially goats, are its favored prey. In the dead of night, it strikes without warning. The victim is drained of its blood. The lifeless body left behind is a grim warning to anyone foolish enough to venture too close. The chupacabra doesn't leave a trace, only a chilling, inexplicable silence in the air, and the unmistakable scent of death. To those who have encountered it, the terror is real, and once you know its name, you can never escape its haunting presence. In the quiet town of Terrell, Texas, whispers of a woman known as Clara Crane still echo through the streets. Her legend, a chilling reminder of the darkness lurking beneath the surface of everyday life. Clara, or as she's feared to be called, once a sweet-faced woman, a stranger to no one, who always seemed to have a pocket full of treats for the children who dared to approach her. But her candy was no innocent delight. No, it was something far more sinister. It is said that Clara lured children into her grasp with the promise of sugary sweets, a gleam of kindness hiding the abyss of madness beneath her pale skin. Once they followed her into the shadows. They were never seen again. Parents, frantic with worry, found only the faintest traces. A few candies dropped on the ground, a small shoe, a forgotten doll. The children had vanished without a trace, swallowed whole by the night. The authorities could never find Clara. Some say she was the inspiration behind a real unsolved case of missing children in Durrell, where it was believed she kidnapped and then disappeared them into her twisted, hidden lair. Others claim she still roams the town, waiting for the next curious soul, a soft voice beckoning them closer with the rustling of candy wrappers, until the air thickens with the smell of decay and fear. And if you ever hear the faint crinkle of paper behind you in the dark, or feel the brush of cold fingers against your arm, beware. Clara Crane may be closer than you think. In the dead of night, under the oppressive weight of the full moon, a sinister pastime thrives in the quiet corners of rural farms. A cruel, twisted game known as cow tipping. The legend speaks of young thrill seekers who, driven by a strange, dark hunger, stalk the unwitting cows as they sleep soundly in the fields. The sound that shatters the quiet like a gunshot. The cow, stunned and disoriented, struggles to rise, its heavy body too disoriented to defend itself. But it's not just the thrill of the topple that lingers. There's something deeply unsettling about the practice. Some say it awakens something ancient, a curse bound to the land. There are whispers in the shadows that those who partake in cow tipping may be marked, followed by a presence that never leaves them, a watchful, unseen force that waits. Others say that the cows, though silent, are not as innocent as they appear. They have their own dark secrets, secrets they whisper to the night, seeking vengeance on those who dared disturb their rest. And once the game is played, there's no turning back.
In hushed tones and whispered warnings, parents tell the terrifying tale of the Blue Star tattoo. This urban legend claims that beneath the guise of innocent, temporary tattoos lurks a deadly trap, a means of luring children into a nightmare from which they might never wake. Stories circulate of these small, colourful tattoos, often with a single bright blue star, handed out near schools, parks, or community centres. They look harmless, playful even, but these seemingly cheerful designs hide something dark. According to the legend, these tattoos aren't just stickers. They're laced with LSD, designed to seep into a child's skin upon contact, triggering powerful and horrifying hallucinations. The children are left defenceless, their minds plunged into vivid, chaotic visions as the drug takes hold, warping reality into terrifying shapes and colours. Rumours say the drug leaves children not just disoriented, but addicted, trapped in a cycle of hallucination and despair. Some tales are even darker, warning that children who come in contact with the Blue Star tattoo are never the same, scarred by visions they can't shake, haunted by shadows only they can see. Parents and teachers pass on the warning: if your child comes home with an unfamiliar tattoo, wash it off immediately and seek help. The danger, they say, is real, spreading unseen, like a predator preying on innocence. To this day, the Blue Star tattoo legend continues to instill fear, a sinister story to remind children that sometimes the things that look harmless hold the darkest secrets. And with each new telling, the shadow of the Blue Star spreads, its tale of silent terror lingering like a warning in the back of every parent's mind.
mystery and spine-chilling whispers. Since the 1970s, stories of this eerie figure have crept through the town, haunting those who hear them. They say he moves like a ghost, a filthy, gaunt figure with wild eyes that gleam with something both human and unearthly. His hands, calloused and dirt-streaked, reach out to catch his prey, rats, which he devours with chilling primal hunger, blood staining his fingers and lips. But it's not only his taste for rats that stirs terror. The legend claims he lives among wild cats, moving silently alongside them as though he were one of their own. The cats accept him, even protect him, slinking through the shadows as his ghostly guardians. Locals swear that on quiet nights, you can see him crouched low, his face barely visible in the dim light, with wild cats prowling around him in a tight, watchful circle. Rumors say that if you lock eyes with the Catman, you'll feel an unnatural chill, as if he's peering into your soul. Some claim he was once a normal man, driven mad and feral by a life of solitude, or perhaps a restless spirit bound to Greenock streets. Many who have dared to approach him in those dark alleyways have quickly turned back, too shaken by his hollow gaze, feeling the weight of something ancient and unbroken. To this day, people pass the alleys of Greenock with hushed steps, casting wary glances into the darkness, knowing the Catman might be watching, his eyes glinting in the night, waiting, forever lingering in the shadows, more ghost than man, bound to the darkness alongside his feline companions.
In the heart of Iowa City's Oakland Cemetery stands a figure cloaked in darkness and mystery, the Black Angel, a towering bronze statue that looms over the grave of Teresa Feldvert. Erected in mourning, the angel's darkened form and unsettling gaze quickly became the source of fearful whispers. Legend says she is cursed, a silent harbinger of death, watching and waiting for those who dare to defy her silent warning. By day, the statue is imposing, her massive wings stretching wide, casting shadows over the graves below. But as night falls, her presence shifts from solemn to sinister. Those who have dared to visit her after dark claim to feel an intense, bone-chilling cold radiate from the statue, as if death itself were reaching out. They say that anyone who dares touch the angel at midnight will suffer misfortune, illness, or worse, death within days. Some claim to have seen her eyes glow faintly, an unnatural, haunting light that pierces through the fog, as if the angel herself is peering into the souls of those nearby. A few witnesses swear that her wings have moved, rustling slightly, and her hands seem to reach out, fingers stiff yet desperate, as if she longs to pull the living into her cold, stone embrace. Teenagers once dared to kiss the feet of the angel, testing her rumoured curse, but tragedy followed. Accidents, inexplicable illnesses, and even untimely deaths plagued those who tried try to defy her legend. Her presence, they say, is more than mere stone. It is a shadow of sorrow and vengeance, eternally bound to the cemetery. Today, locals avoid the Black Angel at night, believing she still harbours a dark power, and if you stand before her, feeling her hollow gaze settle upon you, remember, her curse awaits anyone brave or foolish enough to challenge her. In the shadowed expanse of Druid Ridge Cemetery in Pikesville, Maryland, a cold, dark statue loomed, a spectral figure known as Black Aggie. This life-sized, cloaked woman, with her face veiled in shadow, sat atop the grave of General Felix Agnes, her granite form exuding a chilling, otherworldly aura. By day, she appeared merely sombre and brooding, but as night fell, the true horror of Black Aggie was said to awaken. Legend tells that Aggie's eyes glowed red after midnight, casting an eerie light over the tombstones, watching anyone foolish enough to linger after dark. Locals swore that the air around her turned deathly cold at night, as though she was drawing warmth and life into herself. Whispers echoed through the town that those who dared meet her gaze would be haunted, plagued by nightmares so vivid they left physical marks, scratches, bruises, inexplicable chills that never went away. Daring teens tested the legend, sneaking into the cemetery to touch Black Aggie's cold, stone feet, but few made it close without recoiling. Those who reached out to touch her swore they felt Aggie's granite hands shift, her fingers stretching toward them, or the faint press of invisible hands gripping their shoulders, holding them in place. One night, a young man dared to spend the night under Aggie's watchful stare. At dawn, he was found frozen in terror, his face twisted in a silent scream. Rumours claimed that Aggie had drawn the life from him, leaving him nothing but a hollow shell. Today, Black Aggie is gone, removed from Druid Ridge Cemetery, but those who remember her say that if you wander near her former resting place on a moonless night, you might still feel her icy stare, hear the whisper of her stone skirts brushing against the earth, a reminder that her spirit lingers, waiting for the next soul to test her curse. In the chilling winter of 1953, the quiet town of Bladenboro, North Carolina, was gripped by fear. It started with a single grisly discovery. A family dog, its body drained of blood, left lifeless on the icy ground. The town whispered of a shadow in the woods, a monstrous creature with eyes that gleamed in the dark and fangs sharp enough to tear flesh like paper. They called it the Beast of Bladenboro, or more hauntingly, the Vampire Beast. Each night, the body count rose, Livestock and pets were found slaughtered, their corpses mangled, throats punctured by jagged teeth. The beast struck with silent, brutal efficiency, leaving trails of blood-soaked snow, yet no paw prints or clues. Locals reported glimpses of a hulking, cat-like creature, its coat a menacing shade that seemed to meld with the shadows. Its movements were swift and unnaturally smooth, stalking its prey with the calculated precision of a seasoned predator. Panic spread, and townsfolk gathered rifles and flashlights, forming hunting parties to track the monster. But the beast seemed to toy with them, vanishing like a spectre before they could close in. At night, they heard the eerie, guttural growls echoing from the woods, chilling them to the bone. Hunters claimed to feel eyes watching from the darkness, as if the beast was studying them, mocking their futile efforts. Days turned into weeks, and the carnage continued. The town became paralysed, gripped by the terror of something unseen but all too real. Then, as abruptly as it had come, the creature vanished, leaving Bladenborough haunted and scarred. To this day, on the coldest nights of winter, when the wind howls through the trees, they say you can hear the faint growl of the beast of Bladenborough, lurking just out of sight, waiting for his next hunt.
They say it happened on a calm, clear afternoon. An unsuspecting scuba diver plunging into the depths of a peaceful lake, unaware of the nightmare lurking above. As he drifted beneath the surface, an aerial water bomber, a monstrous helicopter carrying a massive bucket, descended over the lake, ready to scoop up gallons of water for the raging wildfire miles away. The diver never saw it coming. In a single moment, his tranquil underwater world turned into a chaotic torrent. The water bomber's bucket plunged down, capturing not only the lake's water, but also the diver, pulling him skyward with a force so brutal he was stripped of breath and bearings. He was yanked into the open air, disoriented, tangled within a swirling mass of water that blinded and suffocated. Some say his screams were drowned out by the chopper's roar. Carried for miles, helpless, he was finally dumped, along with the payload, over the inferno. Firefighters on the ground watched in horror as not just water, but a twisted figure fell from the sky, crashing onto the burning earth. A scuba diver in full gear, limbs contorted in a final futile attempt at escape. The myth has been debunked, dismissed as impossible, a dark tale born from the fevered imaginations of those looking for thrills. But those who fight fires in the wild will still glance up nervously when the bomber passes overhead, haunted by the thought of what might be lurking unseen in that churning mass of water, a fleeting echo of a nightmare that might just be real.